I mean, Josh, we don't know each other too well, but I would say you're having a headset off moment as we speak. Like certain people are living, you're having a pretty cool life.
For sure, yeah. I'm living a blessed life.
Yeah. Well, we have Josh Richards here. I mean, there's so many.
Thank you.
So many facets, so many things. Originally TikToker, grown into media mogul, no? Podcast.
Yeah, that's the goal. Definitely trying to become a media mogul, like with my podcast, production company, venture fund. That's the goal.
Most importantly, away from all of that.
Yeah.
Originally and still Canadian.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's get down.
Where in Canada?
I'm an hour east of Toronto. It's a small town called Cobourg. Like, grew up there probably when it was like 16,000 population. So very small town, but loved it. Like, just absolutely loved growing up there.
And let's talk about great Canadian exports.
Okay.
Celine Dion. Justin Biebs.
Yep.
Michael Bublé.
Really?
Oh,
Shawn Mendes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Weeknd.
Kind of makes you think, why doesn't anybody want to stay in Canada?
It is strange, right? They
Right.
all leave in Toronto. They come out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah.
Not my Drake, but
My Drake. We can call him my Drake.
He'll be your Drake.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like having a Drake.
And Josh Richards.
Yeah.
Wow, very.
I feel like we just named a lot of names, and it was like Josh Richards. I feel like I'm like a throwaway name amongst them, but you know,
I don't think so. I'm like, we were talking about this before. Just like I'm sure you hear this all the time. Just very impressed. Like there are so many people that like have these TikTok followings. They like are in these like. It was Sway House, right? That's the one, the original one. And it's just like they are just media personalities, and whatever happens with TikTok or social, like that's them. But you, it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, had a very, very specific drive and purpose. Like, what am I going to do with what I just stepped in? And I just think that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Just
Definitely
super cool.
Yeah, it definitely was always the goal for me. Like, since I was a young kid, I was always really driven by numbers and business. I loved the entrepreneurial side of things. I loved being able to start something for myself and be my own boss. So when I came across social media, it was really everything I love to do all mixed into one. Like, I was a class clown, right? I love making people laugh. I love being able to talk. I love listening to myself. So it's like, like all those things are pretty great if you want to be a social media influencer, right?
Right.
So yeah, I kind of brought it all together. It just felt like home when I was making it at the start. And I was doing it with my sister. It was a blast, and just was able to keep growing it, and then eventually pivot that into what I'm doing now with more of like able to help other creators, signing other creators. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely been able to evolve from where it started.
And there's got to be a duality to that too, right? Because like you said, like you're a kid from a small town in Canada, and like I imagine no other family in entertainment or whatever. Like,
no,
not a lot of no one on CTV or on the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company. No big deal. I made a TV show in Canada.
Stuff though.
Big fan of our northern neighbor.
I love that.
But there's got to be like a little bit of that. Like, where did that belief come from? Where you were like, yeah, me. Why not me?
I always got to say, like my parents and my grandparents, for the first 4 years of my life, my grandparents moved down from Newfoundland, which is where my mom was born and raised. Yeah. Which that's the best kind of people, though.
The best. Shout out Teddy Purcell, formerly of the Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings, a good family friend of mine, a Newfie for life. Shout out Teddy.
And like, they can drink, huh? Have you ever tried to drink or catch up with a Newfie?
Dude, I don't. Okay, TMI. Sorry, Teddy. Teddy's mom has she's famous for, if you call her at 2 a.m. or 10 a.m. and you go, Mom, let's have a beer, she'll crack a Michelob with you and start sipping.
Wow.
She's a dream.
That's
Shout out Mrs. Purcell.
That's just who they are. But yeah, so for the first 4 years of my life, my grandparents moved down, lived with like me and my parents, and were like helping my parents with me because I was the first kid. And I really think having 4 adults on one child giving me attention all the time and feeding me with a lot of confidence. Like, I came from a very loving home, just being like, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, Josh, you'll be able to do it. And that being fed into me at such a young age, I mean, you become a product of your environment when you're a little kid, right? And I think that's really why I was able to have the confidence to do social media and not care what kids in high school were saying, or not care if I lost friends or didn't get invited to the parties or wasn't viewed as a cool kid in high school, right? It was, to me, like, I saw the long goal and had the confidence to be able to do it because of my parents and grandparents.
Is that Ben, you can speak to this. Is that a part of good-looking people's mythology? Is that a necessity? Like, you can't say, been cute my whole life. You gotta say, high school was rough. I'm like, was it?
Yeah, totally.
I was like, my high school was rough.
Yeah, totally.
So it was rough. You were awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely an awkward kid in high school. Like, I think when I was in 9th grade, I was 5 foot, maybe like 5 or 6, like pretty short kid, and I was probably 90 pounds. Like, I was a very small kid, and just looked very, very young too. So, I think, just that combination with the musically wasn't really the best, especially like freshman going into high school. But like I definitely had my friends that stuck with me throughout, and one of them even came out to LA and like works at Crosscheck now, the production company, and is like been a solid like shoulder for me, just like being out here and having that memory of like, where I came from. He's able to humble me if I'm ever like thinking I'm too good. You know what I'm saying? If I'm ever like making a comment or whatever, he can kind of look at me and be like, hey, Brad, like I've known you for forever. Like, chill out. That's not you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Take a step back. So I think that's just really important as well.
Well, they say that about the king and his jester, right? That every king had the best jester who basically took the piss out of the king because everyone else is a servant. Everyone else is kissing the king's ass. So you need like that one person who goes, you're not so great. I know you.
Right.
Not impressed. For me, it's my mother.
For me, it's my wife. So there you go.
Do you know kind of what's going on with Ben and him being assaulted on the internet by his wife's fans?
I don't.
Yeah.
Share.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It's just a back.
You don't have to put on a strong act.
It's just a back and forth. No, I've addressed it. We buried it, but I accidentally opened a can of beans. Not I accidentally put back an open can of beans in the cabinet, and my wife went and checked. Like, oh, we're making a chili. Went, took out the can. All of a sudden, it was incredibly furry. So that was the first strike against me. Her fans are like, Beangate, you fucked up.
Okay.
The second thing that happened, I woke up 4:00 in the morning, had an early flight. Going to Alabama. My dog had a little eye problem. I turned on my flashlight just to check, make sure my dog's eye was okay. Yeah. Woke her up. That was the second problem. Flashlight gate. Yeah. What was the third? Do you remember?
Celebrity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were...
It's like the third one. I met a celebrity at a coffee shop, took her home, we had sex. She's kind of like mad about that, too.
Total overreaction.
She's pissed.
She's like a little angry. I don't know which one she's more angry at, the flashlight or that, but whatever.
No, you really buried the lead on that one.
It was that. Yeah.
Well, and it's not easy when your wife has one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
It's
because
true.
She can basically mobilize her fan base, too.
It's true. Shout out the toast. Shout out the toast. Yeah. It's good. But, look, we're over it. It's fine. We've moved on. We've moved on. She's forgiven me.
Okay.
She's forgiven me. So when did you meet? Are you cool talking about Barstool? Like,
of course.
When did you meet Dave? Like, how did all of that happen? Are you enjoying that new chapter?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Yeah, we can dive into that for sure. So that all started out. It's kind of like a long story of how this podcast came to be, but started off. There was some drama. Me, an ex-girlfriend at the time, a buddy of mine tries to get with my ex-girlfriend. So
Who is this ex-girlfriend?
This ex-girlfriend's Nessa Barrett.
And this was very public.
This was very public.
Yeah.
And so then the guy's name is Chase Hudson. So then he and all this shit's like so in the past now. So like, I'm telling the story to get to the Barstool part, but like I don't have any like
dive in here.
I don't have any like animosity anymore. It was like so long ago. Like I could give a shit. If I saw him walk down the street, I'd be like, well, yeah, what's up? So
have you seen them? And
not like super recently. I haven't seen them recently. Like it's been quite a while. I saw Chase recently. I was like at it, like he was throwing a party, and I pulled up and I was like, yeah, what's up? So like, you know what I mean? It's not like we have any like beef or lingering shit, but
well, it's a good thing we invited him here. So Chase, can you,
yeah. Oh my God, it'd be so good for the pod.
Oh, that'd be great, right?
So smart.
Dang, missed opportunity. But so that all like went down, and I was like, what do I do? Make a diss track, obviously, right? Come on. So made a diss track on the guy, and then it started trending on Twitter and just social media platforms. Dave started seeing TikTokers, us, in his timeline. And he wasn't a guy that used TikTok or went on TikTok, so he knew this must be really viral stuff going on. So he tweets out and he goes like, why the fuck are these wiggle dickers showing up on my Twitter feed? And as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, I love Barstool. Like, I grew up watching Barstool. I need to get in contact with this guy and see if we can do something, like, off of that tweet. So we get in contact with him, get his email that to him, set up a live stream on Instagram where I was going to go live. He came in, we'd guest him in, and then I'd explain all the drama that was going on to Dave. So that was the first thing. We did a live stream. I think it had like 75,000 concurrent viewers when we were doing it. Like, just absolutely gnarly. We end up doing that. We're going back and forth. Like, we're feeling like, oh, there's actually like some good natural kind of chemistry here. You know what I mean? Like, we're able to go back and forth. We're telling jokes back and forth. And this is the first time we've ever even talked before. So then from there, went and took a conversation to Barstool and was just like, there's something here. There's something more to this. So we took the idea of making that live stream into a full-blown podcast where I was explaining drama to Dave. Let's do a whole entire podcast where we're explaining the TikTok drama to Dave and we're reacting to it and talking about it and just kind of having fun with a world that's taken, I think, way too seriously. You know? So, yeah, that's really how the podcast came to be.
It's so smart, to Dave's credit, because and I remember when I was on the pod, like, I feel like you knew of me, but Dave so clearly didn't, in a wonderful way. But he was like that lovable uncle who's like, what are you crazy kids up to? Like, he wants to know, and he's not judgmental, because like guys in their 40s, especially people who are ultra successful, can very much be like, I know everything I need to know and there's no room for anything else. And he's like, I'm open, let's hear it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what I love about working with Dave, is like, he will have anyone on, you know what I mean, that podcast, and he's not gonna make you feel like less than you are if he doesn't know who you are, because there's people that do that, you know, if they have a guest on the podcast that's maybe not as well known, or maybe they don't know it. Like, I'll see it in interviews and they kind of, it almost seems like a little bit disrespectful, right? Like, you have this person on your podcast, you gotta show them some respect, right? And I think he's able to do that really well, even when he's not necessarily brought up on a situation or knows a lot about or educated on that situation, which I think is really cool.
Which is interesting. My wife just told me about the Howie Mandel had Tom Sandoval. Which, are you following this Vanderpump Rules drama?
Not really.
I know. For you, those people are ancient.
We tried to talk about it. We tried to talk about it on the podcast, and I was just like so lost because there was so much being thrown at me. And I don't even know who they are. So it's like I gave up as soon as I started, really.
Well, I'm friends with one of the people on the show, or formerly on the show, Kristen, who's gonna be interviewed. But do you know? Can you speak to the Howie of it all and how that?
Yeah, and I can speak to the drama briefly.
Love to get
somebody cheated on somebody, and it was with another cast member's ex-girlfriend, and these two, Tom and Ariana, had been together publicly for like 10 years. This was like a real love while they weren't married.
Yeah.
It
like
was
too old to cheat.
Yeah.
Right. You're not like early 20s. Oh, my thing fell in her and
they were settled.
Yeah, right.
Slipped.
Yes.
They were settled.
Right.
And he like cheated on her in their house. Like just like fucked up. And there was like no defending the other side. He went really quiet, went on it was Howie Mandel's podcast.
Yes.
Is that what it was? And Howie Mandel had no idea what was going on, knew less than you about this situation. But this was the podcast that his publicist chose to put him on to talk about the drama. And it was just very, very strange. And people are really pissed that it's just like such a cop-out. You're going on a show to talk about your transgressions.
Yeah.
But the person interviewing you doesn't know them.
So they can't really like confront you about it.
No, there was no confronting.
Yeah.
He was educating Howie on...
He could have told him any story and Howie would have believed him.
Any story.
Not good.
Any story.
Not good.
Not a great look. No.
Yeah.
And Howie's getting kind of, I mean, not really, but he's getting some heat for it too, right? From the people?
Yeah, I think so, but like, I love Howie Mandel.
Yeah, what does he
can
care?
do no wrong. What can Deal or No Deal?
Great.
What a show. I love a good game show. Are you a game show guy?
I didn't grow up watching a lot of game shows.
Really?
Yeah.
Any
that
Family
shuts that
Feud?
down.
I'm a Family Feud through and through.
Jeopardy?
Not really anything.
Wow. Do you have any ownership in Barstool?
No. I wish. It would have
That's
been
nice.
awesome. I would have got a nice paycheck recently.
What's that like, watching that sort of, because you've been around during them being acquired and the ascension and
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not in the office every day, I feel like I don't necessarily see like how much of a change that made to how people are working or necessarily like the environment, right? Because I go down there every few months and I'm there for a day or two in the offices and I film my podcast and then I'm like on to other meetings in New York, you know?
Right.
So I wasn't really around, but I mean, it was just kind of cool to see these guys that have been putting their like heart, soul, and passion into Barstool for so many years. And what it started as like, you see pictures of Dave handing out newspapers to people in the streets, right? Like that's what it was, to now being this media empire.
Yeah.
I just think it's insanely impressive, and like that's what makes me look up to Dave really in a lot of ways, and aspire to be him in a lot of ways as a businessman and what he's been able to do with Barstool.
What's the over-under of when Dave has a massive heart attack? Pizza every day, he's asking for it.
Yeah.
And he does eat it every day, doesn't he?
I think there are more days he's eating pizza than not eating pizza. For sure, man. He did a challenge where he lived off it for like a month, I think. That was the only thing he ate.
Yeah, he loves it.
So...
And he's not like a big workout guy or anything, right?
No, he's not a big workout guy.
Right.
He's not a big workout guy.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Relatable.
It's not, I'm just saying. I want to...
Man, I really hope not soon. Now you got me thinking about it.
I'll put him in touch with my cardiologist.
Okay, that'd be nice.
No problem.
Yeah, could you do that for me?
Yeah, I'm 36. I'm getting ahead of the
He's
game.
like my BFF, you know?
Yeah, no.
I'd be lost without him.
How much are the TikTok community... let me rephrase that. How much are your TikTok friends, the group... How worried are we about TikTok getting shut down?
I feel like personally, I'm not that worried. Now, I have like other things that I do for like work and whatnot.
Totally.
So I think that alleviates a lot of my like stress and maybe anxiety that I would have if that was like the sole thing I was relying on. But I think this has just been like a game that they've been playing for a long time. And like, I really think it's like the arguments are made, like when I'm watching this case, they sound like idiots. Really, like
Who,
the people,
Congress?
The questions they're asking. Have you guys watched any?
Yeah, I've seen
at
those
all?
clips.
I watched,
Like,
I
those
watched
clips.
some of
the
it,
questions they're asking are quite crazy. It just seems like they're not really fully educated on it, so they're just trying to like bad mouth TikTok. And I'm not saying that we should be giving data away or anything like that's not my point. But our data's like if you have a phone, your data's already
compromised.
in your phone. Yeah, like you gotta understand, like you're already in there, right? So, I don't know. It's a tough situation to talk about. It's one that I'm not fully educated on like the data you like being given to China and all that. But I don't really have a lot of stress on TikTok leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Vine died and we all survived. Right?
Yep.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You were probably 7 when that was big.
I was probably actually like running home from school to catch Drake and Josh or something. You know what I mean?
Man, you like my show, huh?
Dude, I loved your show.
But was it on in Canada?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like I don't get the quite the attention
Really?
I deserve there.
No?
No, I mean, I just think there are certain areas like people will know of it, but it wasn't as much a part of the lexicon the way it is in America.
I think that can make sense for sure, but also like I remember like I think it came on Canadian Netflix at one point. And it was the biggest thing ever for Drake and Josh to be coming on Canadian Netflix because we were never able to watch it anymore. It wasn't like we weren't watching it on our TVs anymore. So it was like we were all on streamers now. And it was like, oh, yeah, like back to the Drake and Josh day. Everyone was hyped about it. Like it was like a topic in school the next day. So people loved it. I remember like running home and we would be babysat for the first like 30 minutes. We'd come home because my dad was a teacher and my mom worked in the school board. She's a speech pathologist. So when we'd come home, first 30 minutes were free. I wasn't allowed to watch Drake and Josh when I was super young.
Interesting, because we were sassy as hell.
Yeah, y'all were these devious kids.
Megan was so evil.
And what, like, I mean, Drake would get up to some crazy shit. So we would go to my friend's house for the first 30 minutes instead of going to my house.
Yeah.
Watch Drake and Josh. Be able to like slide watching that, and then we'd come home 5 minutes just before my parents came home. It would always work out perfectly.
That's so interesting. I think you're the first person that I've heard say that Drake and Josh was a show that their parents didn't want them to watch.
Yeah.
I watched it all day. My parents didn't want me watching like The Terminator. And by the way, one time I watched it, third grade, friend's house, nightmares for a week. They were right, The Terminator.
You were now growing up in New York like I did. Were you not watching Channel 35?
Which was that the porny channel?
The porny. So in New York, there was a public access porny channel after 10 o'clock at night.
It's so funny
That's sad.
By the way, and this was like 80s porn.
Like
Right,
Robin
right,
Bird
right.
show.
Robin Bird.
Yeah.
You're sick. You're sick. That's so funny.
I'm going to
Yeah.
pull up Robin Bird for
Okay,
you.
so what I would do is I would have my thumb on the back button on my remote.
On your
So the second someone comes
It's
to the
just like
room,
the door. Drake and Josh.
yeah, what do you mean?
on your Zenith television.
But literally, the Robin Bird show. I cannot believe that you just brought that up. Is literally like nothing wrong with mid-40s women, but this is like old 80s porn. Crazy amounts of bush. How much bush is Robin Bird?
It was just this weird like burlesque show with like just a here look like this was the signage, okay? So can you imagine? It was like being at the Bunny Ranch,
Right.
And it was just like like these very normal looking people who would like get on and dance like, oh, you love my body, and you remember, and you're just like, and was way too much body hair going on.
Okay.
But it was kind of ahead of its time. It was like, it was a lot of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Josh is like, what did I get myself into? Marshall's like, I'm filing a complaint with HR. It was a wild thing. But the Drake and Josh of it all, I've certainly heard that some people were like, you
My
guys,
parents were pretty strict on the television we were allowed to watch, though, too.
strict
And
in
I was the
general?
first kid, so I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
get
you're
it.
a lot stricter with your first kid, right? Like, eventually you're kind of like, that's the third or fourth. Who gives a fuck? You know, like eating sand at the beach. It's like the first kid, you're like, oh my God, you're taking all the sand out the mouth. By the third kid, you're like, it's not going to kill him.
Right.
Right? They're
or
probably
if it
fine.
or if it does,
We'll make another.
they died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good. So, yeah, I
producing.
think that's, I just had like an ADHD blank out. I forget where I was going
That's
with what I
you
was
an
saying.
Adderall guy? You
No,
have
I
to answer
don't.
that.
I don't do Adderall actually.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, I've just kind of been like, I like running with my ADHD brain. I feel like when I'm like recently we started doing writers rooms at Crosscheck. Like I'm really trying to move into comedy sketches and really like higher my level of production on TikTok and everywhere. Like I just really want to move or elevate my content. I feel like every year I try to add depth to like who Josh Richards is and change something. And this year I really want that to be the change. So we're throwing these writers rooms now at my house and have like 5 writers that I've hired or 4 writers that we hired at Crosscheck that come in, and I feel like having a brain that is wired how an ADHD brain is wired is amazing for those rooms because you need to just like hear something and then like go off on like a journey with them, be like, oh, what about this, what about that, what about this, like what if the character does, you know what I'm saying, what if it lives here? That's so important, I think.
Right.
So I don't really want to take Adderall and then numb that, you know.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because I always feel like ADD meds are just to take creative people and make them fit what modern society needs. But in reality, it's a very special thing to be able to think about the world differently than everybody else. It's not only ADD, but like those meds just like, I don't know. Unless you're taking them to just like stay up.
Yeah, that's different.
That's
I feel
different.
Like, though. Like I've definitely like taken Adderall before.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
you know, like if I like there was one time when we were in Miami and we were recording, and I think like the night before it was like I either like landed super late or it was like I ended up having like 2 hours of sleep and I had to film 5 podcasts the next day, in a row. So that's like 7 hours, 8 hours of shooting and just purely talking. I'm off 2 hours of sleep. I was like, damn, like I need some. I was like, okay, I'll like take like 5 milligrams of Adderall and then I'm fine. You know what I mean? But it's like at the same time, when I watch those episodes back, it's a different kind of like, I can tell I'm thinking differently than I normally would be thinking. You know what I mean? I'm not as like happy with the content that gets created as I think I would be if I was just not on Adderall. So that's kind of my outlook on it.
Yeah, or modafinil. Y'all heard of that? Provigil?
Modafinil? That sounds like a
babes.
flower.
It does. Definitely.
Babe, it's fighter pilot meds. It's like the limitless drug.
Damn,
I got a guy
fighter
for you.
pilot meds.
I got a guy for you, JR.
you be locked in on that shit.
You have good initials, JR. That's hot.
Thanks, man.
That sounds like you're an announcer for the
Gonna make me
WWE. Like,
Yeah, that is good.
what do you think of Logan Paul's new suplex, JR? It just sounds natural.
As opposed to mine, BS. It's been haunting me my whole life.
BS.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, the kids in the playground. Bullshit.
They thought about it.
Assholes. JP's good too. Really good.
JP.
JP's fun.
Yeah.
You could just go by JP. You'd be a completely different person.
I'd have to wear a backwards cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
A
I've met a
JP.
pretty dorky JP. Like my
Really?
friend's stepdad was JP, and he was kind of a dorky guy. He's a good guy. No diss to JP. Just like he's a little dorky.
But a diss to stepdads in general.
See, I don't have a stepdad, so I can't
Me
talk
either.
on that. You know what I mean? But
wish. They don't
yeah,
always get
sucks
the
to
best
suck,
way.
I guess. No, yeah, that would suck. I don't know. I would hate to have a stepdad, probably.
What do you think there will be like support? Let's say tomorrow that Congress passes that TikTok is no more.
Yeah.
Will there be TikTok support groups? What will the group chat look like? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's gonna be like A&A just appearing around the world, but it's gonna be for TikTok.
Right.
There'll
Like,
definitely be support groups. I mean,
There's gonna be people that are just like, I can't stop swiping.
Yeah.
Can't stop swiping. No, but I don't know. I feel like people are gonna move to the next platform, or people will find the next thing. Like social media is never gonna die, right? Like there's always gonna be another platform. Whether that's like people are like, all right, let's just go back to YouTube, or people go to Instagram. Like there's always gonna be something. So I'm not like, I don't know. I think there'll just be a new platform.
The China of it all really is a bug out, at least to me, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a bug out to you, but like when I read, again, I have no idea if they're doing anything with our data, if they have our data, whatever.
Our data is being leaked for sure, because as we talked about, Facebook is doing it in America. Like,
Okay.
and this was TikTok. The CEO of TikTok's sort of defense was like, we're not doing anything different than any other social media is doing with people's info.
Yeah.
The problem is they're owned by China.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're okay with it if it's at home and they're in Northern California. When it's another country is where it be. So assume that it is happening.
Yeah, so then also knowing that China owns, I think I just read 400 million, or was it 400 million acres of farmland in the United States? It's something like that. And it's like when you start to think about that, okay, they have our data, but they're also controlling potentially like the chemicals that are on our fruits and vegetables, and again, I don't want to become too conspiracy theorist here.
Let's just assume they own the acres because they want to shoot a Chinese Yellowstone. How sick would that be? Could you imagine?
That'd be sick. It's just all Wagyu cows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
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 I guess
Good
that's
beefed up
Japanese,
meat.
actually.
Yeah.
But
It's Japanese, but
I'm sure they also have
sorry.
Wagyu in China.
yeah, they're
They
not
have-
gonna not eat Wagyu, right?
They have-
It's great meat.
They have kosher Wagyu. Do you know that?
I
didn't
believe
know
it.
that.
I want to come back. I want to die and come back as a Wagyu cow because literally your whole life
You're massaged.
you're massaged and you're shithoused on beer. That's how it becomes so fatty. They're fed beer all day.
That's
Can
incredible.
you imagine? That's cows are goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's like, if you do a really good job in life, right? Maybe you come back as a Wagyu cow.
God willing.
God
Yeah.
willing.
Baruch Hashem.
God
Yeah.
willing.
Yeah.
God willing.
Do you- I have one question from my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Are you or have you currently been or are you dating Dixie D'Amelio?
No, I've
Blame
never.
my sister-in-law.
I've never been dating Dixie. We're not dating now, but like we're really close friends. She's dope. We've
Yeah.
hung out a bunch of times, and I always have fun hanging out with that girl. So yeah, she's really cool.
Here's a fun fact. My former agent, my digital agent at UTA,
Okay.
brilliant guy, couple years ago, worked together, love him, best guy. He goes, I just signed this TikToker, Charlie D'Amelio. In fact, I signed her whole family. I think this is going to be good. I go, what's TikTok? No. I'm like, great. Literally 1 year from the date he signed her, he quits the agency,
Yeah.
becomes their sole manager.
Yep.
But I get it, right? Because like, how rare is it where you tap into something that is going to be this instant like empire?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, if they continue to do it right, and I think they've been doing a really good job.
Yes.
They can really pivot their family into becoming like the modern day Kardashians. Like, I truly believe that they could do that. Yeah, they have like a good dynamic. I mean, Charlie and Dix are obviously like two of the biggest girls on social media too. So
Right.
they have all the stuff they need to make it happen.
What's the so I'm sure you're getting invited to the Met Gala?
Not yet. I wish.
Tell him.
You got invited to the Met Gala?
I didn't. I turned him down. I fucked up. I messed
Such a
it up.
mistake.
You turn them down?
It's kind of dope, though, no?
So dope.
Sick, right?
Rock star move.
From one fellow Josh to another. God bless you.
Rock
You
star
hear this,
move, man.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm too good for you. Fuck your Gala, Met.
Sorry, Anna Winter.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Yeah, dude. Call me back
What
when
are you,
it's
nuts?
summer.
Is that nuts?
Yeah, you should have gone.
I know, I should have.
Yeah, just
do
because
I
like you
regret
love
it?
those things. We'll go to renovations, but you won't go to the Met Gala.
I went for you, you jerk. He's in town. I get invited. I was on Disney Plus, so I get invited to these like different premieres and screenings and things. And I never go, only because I have a 6-month-old kid and a 4-year-old.
Right.
And I can only take so much of my wife hating me.
Right.
So I never go. He's here. He's like, "Do you want to go to a Laker game?" I'm like, "No." And I'm like, "But
Yeah, because he's nuts. No Met Gala, no Laker game, but renovations.
I'm like, Jeremy Renner, America's hero, Disney Plus. I'm gonna make them happy, inroads. Maybe I'll do a little
Fair.
hobnobbing.
Fair.
You're with a bona fide celebrity here, going to a
Bona fide.
screening. I'm like, I'm gonna gift him this.
Yeah.
And
You're doing charity.
it was a
being
nice
good
event.
guy.
It was a gift.
It was not the Met Gala, but it was. They had nice sliders.
It was great.
Jeremy
So when
Renner.
were you invited to the Met Gala? What year was it?
I had done this movie called The Whackness, which
Okay.
was like, it's this indie movie, but it won Sundance, and it's me and Method Man and Ben Kingsley, and it just was a really well done indie movie.
Okay.
And it was just getting some good looks. I was in Vanity Fair and like all the things. And my publicist called me during that time. I was 23, and she's like, 22. She's like, "You got invited to the Met Gala," and I literally said, "What's that?" And my mom didn't again, this is pre-social media. This is 2008.
That's a good point.
So like, I don't know if anyone who wasn't truly a part of the cool crowd understood it. This is like when people went to Coachella to hear music. Right?
Yeah.
So a lifetime
Not to like
ago.
post their ass.
Yes. And I had just been in New York, and I literally had to leave the next day, and they're already like, "You're going to have to get fitted for all these things." I'm like, I hear fitted anything, I'm not interested. And I said, no.
Wow.
It's all right.
It's one of those things that once you get invited and you say yes, though, like you get invited every year, isn't it?
I don't think
That's
so.
exactly what I was thinking.
Isn't it one of those
I
type of
think
like
so.
cliquey
Once you're
things?
in the
yeah,
inner
I think once
circle,
you're in the clique,
you're in.
That's
you're
not
in.
true. I don't think.
Has anyone ever been like,
how would you know?
removed from the invite list?
I think that there are givens. You're Kardashian, you're Taylor Swift, you're of that ilk. Yes, you are invited every year. But I think if you're in an independent movie with Method Man, and maybe the next year you're not as, relevant or not in a bigger movie, yeah, you're totally not. There's a set number of seats. I've heard that Anna Winter does the table charts. So she sits you and places you where you're going to be. But there's only, I don't know how many people, not a lot, less than 1,000 that go, right?
I have no idea.
I think it's limited. So I don't think it's a given that you're in, from what I know.
Well.
And I don't know much.
Well, you will never know.
You will
Yes.
never
You
know.
blew your chance
Josh, good. Maybe, you know what? Barstool should have their own gala, and we should all go.
What a good idea.
to know. That is a great idea.
You're welcome.
That is a great idea. I'm going to bring it to them as my idea, though.
Bring it to Dave, and the two of you can get even richer than you are.
Sweet.
Enjoy.
Hell yeah.
Should we get to our What Are You Nuts moment of the week?
Please.
Our What Are You Nuts moment of the week, and we'll start. Give you a second.
What are you, nuts?
What are you, nuts?
Rolls off the tongue, does
It
it?
does, kind of. Yeah, I like that.
Barstool can have that too. No, they can't.
Okay.
Yeah, they can. But they can have this show.
Don't,
Kidding.
unplug your headphones, Marshall. No, they can't. But let's just cover this. No. So our What Are You Nuts moment is like your gripe with anything going on in the world right now. It could be small, it could be big in your life, people, places, and things. Just something that's randomly annoying you. Ben, you want to start us off? You got
Sure.
something?
I'll give you a light puff piece. It's nothing too serious. I'm staying at a hotel here. I'm from New York. And I get into bed and I'm aggressively trying to get these warm puppies out from under the tucked in sheet.
Okay.
The tucked in blanket. And my what are you nuts is just these housekeepers tucking it so hard that you feel trapped. What are you nuts? Like, this is not normal. Nobody tucks like this in their own house. And when you go to a hotel, you want a good night's sleep that feels like you're home. A nice cozy bed, good pillows. And yeah, what are you nuts?
Strong tuck.
That
Strong
was
tuck.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's a little longer. I told it. I think I blocked this out of my mind. So I get a text from this guy who had written this play, and he was doing a reading of the play. Do you guys know a play reading? What it is?
Yeah.
So there's like table reads where you all sit around the table, you just read the script. A play reading is you're still reading it off the page, but maybe, and there's no set, but maybe it's a little bit more involved. You're kind of acting. It's like a half rehearsal.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be done in front of an audience to get feedback, or it can be done for a charity thing. It's kind of a fun thing to watch. So I remember this was 2019, and I get invited to this thing, and they're like, "We want to do this thing." I'm like, "You know me, charitable boy over here,
Just good guy Josh.
pay it forward,
I heard that's your nickname, I'm pretty sure, actually.
giving it back,
Yeah.
no problem." So I do this thing. And I got a text from the guy the other day, and it all flooded back to me. So they go, "It's a play reading for charity." I'm like, "Great, we're going to be reading off the page." Like, "You're the narrator." I'm like, "Even better." So I'm literally like, Josh enters, walking across the street to go see his mother. And then the mother talks, right? Like, narrator, that's an easy get.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a rehearsal before. Overkill, yes, but we're doing it. We're doing the rehearsal, and I see that the narrator is actually a character in the story and much more involved than I had realized. Like, very big dramatic turns. No problem. And they got real actors to be in this read. One, in fact, named Lynn Shay. Now, if you know this person, and I hope that you do, you ever see There's Something About Mary, or is that before your time, Josh?
I don't believe I have seen that.
You would know her. She's from the Insidious movies.
Okay.
So we do the read. I'm the narrator. I'm like catching up, figuring out what this is doing. So I'm like not giving it full effort because it's rehearsal.
Right.
And I'm just like figuring it out. We finish. She looks at me. She goes, "You're not going to do it like that, are you?" I mean, you want to talk about a faux pas. I'm immediately stunned. I'm like, "What's happening?" She's like, and she looks at the director, the guy who wrote it. She goes, "It's just not good. It's not good." And I'm like, so flabbergasted in this moment that I'm stunned into silence. And I'm like, "We're doing a read. I'm the narrator, and this is a rehearsal." She goes on this tear, totally like going after me, to a point where some of the actors go like, "Okay, all right, it'll all be." And so I'm just sitting there going like, "I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
This
sucks."
They don't deserve me.
And the director needs to be like, "Hey, Lynn, calm it down.
Yeah.
You're Cameron Diaz's mother, and There's Something About Mary. You're not Meryl Streep."
Yeah.
And so I stay because it's charity. I wind up doing the read, and I'm like, "I'm going to show this lady
How well I really can do.
boys, your boy welled up in the middle. I got a standing ovation after that read." So Lynn Shay, I say to this, "What are you, nuts? You're going to doubt Josh Peck and my abilities?"
Damn it, Lynn.
Man, you guys have such good what are you nuts.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not prepared for mine, I feel like. But I'll just go with one that like been bothering me in the last week. And so it's been raining a lot in Los Angeles. I come from a country where we're very used to different environments.
Did you guys?
Very used to different environments, right? We see snow. We see ice. We see this thing called rain.
Yes.
It seems like people from California, they don't know about these things. They don't.
That's great.
They know even less how to drive in these environments. Sometimes when I'm driving in the rain in Los Angeles, I want to rip my steering wheel off of my car, throw it out the window, and just see where my car takes me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you, nuts?
What are you, nuts?
Wow.
Learn how to drive in the rain.
Yeah, use your
It's
car
not
as a
that
mis-
hard.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
I mean,
so that's mine.
LA is the worst.
Oh,
You hate it too.
I've never seen so many incapable drivers. Who's handing out these licenses? I failed my driver's license twice out here.
Well, that's upsetting, Josh. Anyone who fails their driving test is not. That's something.
It didn't make sense to me. I was like, I did a perfect job.
You're not from the UK.
I know how to drive.
Are the same in
I
Canada.
know. I was like, you're kidding me, right? And it's like, he was like, oh, you didn't like look over your shoulder long enough on one of the turns. Automatic fail. And I was like, wow, what?
Was it going from kilometers to miles? That messed you up?
No, nothing messed me up. The thing was I drove here for like a year or two before I went to get my license here, because there's like a treaty where you're allowed to use your Canadian license in the US.
Ooh, a treaty. That's
something like that, you know? So then I was like, fuck, I'm fine with this one. It eventually like expired, so I had to go get a new one. But them failing me twice, like, fuck you, DMV.
Wow.
Maybe that's another. What are you, nuts?
What are you,
I'm
nuts?
a great driver.
I think failing your driving test twice is what are you nuts?
I'm a good driver. The third guy that came in the car, even at the end, he was like, dude, did you like take? I see your shit. Like you failed twice, and then this time, like, there's nothing I marked off. And I was like, nah, I've been driving the same. Like I've been driving the same. And he actually looked at me and he was like, what driving instructor did you, or what DMV person did you have? And I was like I didn't know the guy's name. Happened to walk out the bin. I was like, that guy. And he was like, oh,
ouch.
So I think there might have just been a guy there that's probably like a dick. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it's like, there's also conspiracies where they fail you on purpose to get more money.
Wow.
Because it costs more money every time you go to the DMV to get a driver's.
Does it hurt more to fail your driving test in a Bugatti? I don't know what you drive.
I don't know. I failed in a Tesla, which hurts because the Tesla drives for you. But yeah, I got docked off points too for having a Tesla. They were like, this car drives for you, you're cheating. And like docked off points for me having a Tesla. Yeah. They were like, it brakes for you automatically. Like, and I was like, right, it doesn't like brake for me automatically. It like slows down a little bit. But
that.
So yeah, anyways.
Do you know my driver's license story?
No, but I'm ready.
Probably 2017, 2016. I got a series of speeding tickets in like a 6-month period. I drive quickly, but not recklessly.
That's like
you
me.
know, like I was one was like to Atlantic City. You're trying to get there.
Yeah.
And like these like Jersey state troopers are fucking nuts.
Okay.
What are you nuts is the Jersey state troopers.
Okay.
Nuts.
And they wear Mountie hats. Like the Royal Canadian Police.
They're trying to like rip off our thing, or
yeah, they are.
Whack.
They are.
Whack.
They are. They're very, very scary. Very scary.
I'd mess with that.
Whatever. I got it. There were a couple of points. Insurance went up. Thought nothing of it. Like got no communication in the mail. Nothing. 2 years later, my license expires. So I go into the DMV to get a new license, and they say, "Sir, you know your probation's over, and we can issue you a new license." I'm like, "What do you probation? What are you talking about?" They're like, "We revoked your license 2.5 years ago, and so you can come in and you can apply for a new license." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I apparently for 2.5 years had a revoked license, and when I tell you I'm traveling, I'm using my license in every airport, nobody ever said a thing, nothing. I guess I must just not have gotten a ticket. A speeding ticket in that 2.5 year period. Otherwise, I probably would have gone to jail for speeding with a revoked license.
Oh, yeah.
But by the time I got there, they're like, here's your new license.
That's unreal.
Because the time had just...
It went by?
It went by. That was it.
That's amazing.
How crazy is that?
So crazy.
Nuts.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky as hell.
Lucky. Wow. Crazy. But it also made me very fearful of... People are just traveling in our airports. Like they're like TSA is like so important. Like you need to show your license, all this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm flying with one that is not valid. It scared me.
It's a little scary.
I once I tried to fake an asthma attack to get out of a ticket. Didn't work.
Yeah. That's too bad.
It was a jaywalking ticket.
Oh,
I was running across the road.
I didn't even know those were real.
Where was it? Here?
They are Bad Boys for Life, North Hollywood. Pop
Another reason to hate it.
And I'm running across the street, and it was egregious. Like literally, the cop car needed to stop, like screech to stop from hitting me.
You jaywalked in front of a cop car.
Yeah.
You're asking for it.
100%.
Yeah.
Stripping.
Yeah.
Stripping.
I retract my statement.
Me too.
Yeah.
You're now the idiot in this story.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
You gave us no context.
No.
Okay,
you
guys.
kind of made it. I'm just saying, you like pitched us this story like we were supposed to take your side, and
Totally.
it's like you were not the protagonist in this story.
Can you believe it? I got a ticket for jaywalking,
and I'm like, oh, f- the ops, dude. 12 sucks.
I like when you were talking more about Drake and Josh on Canadian Netflix. Josh Richards. Yeah, got a ticket. And then he's like, sit on the curb, and I'm like, easy, nice, be nice, and officer jerk. And then I'm like looking around, I'm like, how do I do? And then I see a Rite Aid across the street, and I'm like, yours. And I'm like, I'm having an asthma attack. I have to go get my inhaler. He's like, you've been sitting here for 9 minutes. You'd be dead. Like if you couldn't breathe, like I'd know it.
Smart guy.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
Were you trying to run from the cops?
No, I was just 21 and stupid and not thinking. I was just like, I don't wait for a crosswalk.
Yeah.
Did anyone like see you sitting on the curb? Do you think? Did anyone like drive by and be like, what the fuck is Josh doing right now? Just sitting on the curb with that police officer.
It's totally possible. I do
But
wonder.
no pictures
sometimes.
came out or anything like that.
No, I mean this is like 15 years ago, so it's a
That's
different.
such a good point.
It's such
Yeah.
a look.
Like, you got arrested and pictures went everywhere.
Yeah, what'd you get arrested for?
I personally didn't get arrested, but like 2 people that I was with did. And it was because we had like weed with us and we were in Texas.
Oh, Texas, ouch. But have they since passed it, or has Governor Hot Wheels actually repealed it? It's because he's in a wheelchair. That's why I call him Governor Hot
I was
Wheels.
going to say, I was like, what's that from? I have no idea what they're doing over there.
That's what. So you had just a fun time worth of weed, and you got, and
Yeah.
not you, but
Well, no, like, I mean, it
You were
was
there.
like, it was all of our weed, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were all, like, I guess we all smoked the weed, like, but, no, yeah, it was, we got pulled over, and, like, it was an idiot move to be, like, trying to bring weed to Texas, honestly. Like, that's just silly to drive in, like, a tinted out Mercedes Sprinter van, LA license plate. Like, you know what I mean? Just bad combo all around, like, so yeah, just was a silly situation, but we were out on the curb. Like, I remember sitting out on the curb. All of us were lined up, and they had us like, you know, all like 10 feet apart, so we couldn't be like talking to each other and whatnot. But people were driving by and like shouting out like, "Sway boys, we love you. We'll wait for you." You know what I mean? So like shit like that was just being like, yeah, and then like videos and pictures of us just like,
See, that's great
sitting on the
publicity.
curb.
that's good.
You need
I
a
don't
jaywalk
know.
again in front of the cops, and I'll send down.
Hollywood Fix or something.
Yeah, someone.
Yeah.
You were framed. That's what we'll do.
Perfect.
Yeah, you were framed.
You were cuffed up in Texas. Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't get any cuffs on me.
No.
Didn't get any cuffs on me or nothing.
Kind of
but-
want to then.
Yeah, right. It's like, let me
Kinda
get a cool
adds
picture.
Yeah.
to the
badass.
mythology.
Yeah.
You like
We
sit-
got-
you whisper to the cop. You're like, listen, I'm just roll with it. I'm gonna look like I'm fighting you. I'm not.
Like, hey, come on, man, make me look cool. No, I got the only time I've ever been cuffed was at Stagecoach last year.
Why at Stagecoach?
Yeah, because it's a kind of a funny story. But last year at Stagecoach, I was only 20, and I was drinking. So I had like a beer or something like that in my hand, and it's like, come on, I'm at a country music festival. You think I'm not drinking a beer? You're kidding yourself. So I'm drinking this beer, and this guy kind of like taps on my shoulder from behind, and he goes, I like look at him, and he's like kind of, you know, just wearing like the same clothes I'm wearing, like very like festival vibe clothes. And he was like, yo, we're doing ID checks, man. How old are you? And I was like, haha, and turned around. I thought it was a Joe. You know what I mean? Like, I thought this guy was like playing with me or something. I was like, I turned around. Taps me again, and I turn around, and he just has his badge out. And I was just like, so he's like, how old are you? And right off rip, I was like, 23. And he's like, so he's asking me all these questions. I'm just giving him all these fake answers. And then eventually he caught my, like, he grabs my other buddy who was also underage drinking, and then he like starts to like walk over to my set, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna distract. So I gave him my real ID. Like, I was like, all right, like whatever. He sees that I'm under age, puts me in cuffs, like in front of like the entire festival, and it was just like, dude, like I would have walked with you wherever you needed me to go. Like, putting me in cuffs for this, it seems a little bit outrageous, but threw me in cuffs, and then like had them behind the back, walked me out of like the venue and whatnot. They golf cart me, and the guys like know me. They're like, yo, so you have like the Barstool pod. So now we're like all becoming boys on the golf cart ride over. They take like a picture of me, make me like sign something, and then they're like, all right, you want to drive back to the festival? And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we just need you to like sign this. You know, it's just like quick little like underage drinking thing. Probably won't even get filed. Yeah, it was like a ticket. They're like, probably won't even get filed. Honestly, like, We've brought some of the same people here like 4 times already today.
He's
What
like,
what a
probably
bunch
won't
of
even get
pricks.
filed.
It was just like, why did you waste 20 minutes of my time tonight for that? You know what I mean? And it never got fought. Like, I never had to pay the ticket, which I would have happily paid the ticket. It's not like I'm like, hell yeah, I got away with it. It was like, probably would have cost me $200 or $400.
But you're
it's
so
like,
not the problem in that situation. That's
Yeah.
so weird. It's the person who either sold it to you or, you know what I mean?
the
Like,
venue is selling me beer. So
Yeah,
I think that's your problem,
that's
guys.
your
Like
problem.
the fact that like I just walked up to the counter and was like, hey, can I get a beer? And they're like, sure. And I walked
That-
away. That's probably the people you guys should be worried about. It's not
maybe they
on
were
me.
too intimidated to ask for a picture. They were like, let's arrest him, and then we'll bring him around back for a
Yeah,
pic.
yeah, yeah.
You know, they might be big Sway House boys.
Could be.
You know,
Could
they could have been
Very
at cadet
possible.
school. I don't know what the police do. And they went,
I don't
like,
either.
look,
I'm not one.
You see him go like that? That's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I should try that.
Yeah. Dude, thank you for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having
Do you
me.
want to
Thanks for
shout out
having me.
anything?
I mean, I have a podcast myself, BFFs. Come watch. That's about all I need to shout out.
My guy.
Oh yeah.
Rate, review, subscribe, please. 5 stars. I mean, this guy, 7 stars.
Clear.
If you can do it.
We'll do 7 stars. For
Okay.
you. Listen wherever your podcasts are available. We still don't know the full grouping. Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. How do you outro your pod? Where do you tell people to catch it?
I think we did a pre-recorded outro so long ago that I don't even remember what it
That's
is.
what
So
anymore.
nobody knows.
Catch
Nobody
us
knows.
on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and hopefully soon Barstool.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.